Are We Winning the Presidential War on Heart Disease by Tom Seast. American Heart Month. In the United States, February is considered the American Heart Month by the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. During this month, there is a concerted effort to make Americans more aware of heart health and efforts they can make to reduce their risk of developing cardiovascular disease. Heart disease aware. Having relatives with heart problems is not uncommon here in the United States. I have had close relatives that have had a history of heart health challenges, and this didn't keep me from having my own heart challenges in my 50s. So I suppose most people are aware of heart disease. Presidential problem. At the leadership level, the government of the United States has had a presidential problem with heart disease. In history class in school, we were always taught about the incidences of assassination of past presidents, but not as much about the challenges they faced with heart disease. President Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland was President of the United States from 1885 to 1889 and from 1893 to 1897. He was considered to be overweight and died of myocardial infarction, or a heart attack, in 1908 at the age of 71. President Cleveland was also known as a cigar aficionado and had also developed cancer during his presidency. President William Taft. William Taft was the President of the United States from 1909 to 1913. He was morbidly obese and weighed 340 pounds, which is about my present weight. He also was appointed to the Supreme Court of the United States. His death in 1930 at the age of 72 was attributed to heart disease. President Calvin Coolidge. Calvin Coolidge was the 30th President of the United States from 1923 through 1929. 4 years after he left the presidency, he died of coronary thrombosis at the age of 60 in 1933. Coronary thrombosis is a blood clot inside the heart which causes a myocardial infarction or a heart attack. President Franklin Roosevelt. Franklin D. Roosevelt was 32nd President of the United States for the years 1933 through 1945. He suffered from high blood pressure or hypertension and was suspected to have coronary artery disease or hardening of the arteries. He died following a massive stroke in his 4th term as president. President Harry Truman. President Harry S. Truman was the 33rd President of the United States from 1945 to 1953. He was diagnosed with cardiac asthma in 1947, which is really not a type of asthma, but describes the difficulties with breathing that occurs with heart failure. He died in 1972 at the age of 88. President Dwight Eisenhower. Dwight D. Eisenhower was the 34th President of the United States and was the President from 1953 through 1961. He suffered a myocardial infarction or heart attack in 1955 on the 18th hole while playing golf. Ike was a heavy smoker and also suffered from Crohn's disease. He also suffered from strokes, more heart attacks, and heart failure before his death at the age of 78 in 1969. President Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson was the 36th President of the United States from 1963 through 1969. He suffered from his first heart attack in 1955 while working as a U.S. Senator. He was also a heavy smoker and had significant heart health challenges. He had a couple more heart attacks and died following an attack in 1973 at the age of 64. President Gerald Ford. Gerald R. Ford was the 38th President of the United States from 1974 through 1977. He was diagnosed with aortic stenosis, coronary heart disease, and heart failure. His death in 2006 at the age of 93 was attributed to complications of his history with cardiovascular disease. 3. He passed out while attending a dinner in Japan when there was a drop in his blood flow to his brain, known as a syncopal episode. He was also diagnosed with atrial fibrillation with rapid ventricular response, AFib with RVR, caused by his Graves' disease. I have twice had atrial fibrillation with rapid ventricular response caused by pneumonia and by black mold. President William Clinton. Bill Clinton was the 42nd President of the United States from 1993 through 2001. He was diagnosed with triple vessel disease and had quadruple coronary artery bypass surgery. He also later had a stent placed in 2010. President George W. Bush. George W. Bush was the 43rd President of the United States from 2001 through 2009. After he left office, he had a stent placed in 2013 after being diagnosed with obstructive coronary artery disease or hardening of the arteries. President Joe Biden. President Joseph R. Biden Jr. is the 46th President of the United States and began his term as President in 2021. President Biden has episodes of atrial fibrillation where his heartbeat is out of rhythm and takes blood thinners to lower his risk of an associated stroke. Presidential problems. Each of us has emotional struggles, pressures of life, and other challenges, even though most of us likely will never serve as president. I've been asked to run for president many times, but I've declined because I hear it is lonely at the top, and I have the heart health challenges. I don't have the great heart health of former President Donald Trump. Prevention challenges. There are many ways to prevent having heart disease or reverse the various forms of the disease. I know many cardiologists who specialize in the prevention of the disease as well as many heart health coaches. As someone that is currently battling heart disease, my recommendation is to avoid having the actual diagnosis for the various forms of cardiovascular disease. Me. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my days on this side of the soil reminiscing about times, both good and bad. Feel free to follow my ramblings at the links listed below.